Hi everyone, welcome to the Dr. Elizabeth Show. I'm so happy you're here. And we recorded this interview on my radio show last week, but my guest this week is so extraordinary. I really needed to bring her back. I just hooked up so that we can also record the shows via Skype so you can actually see her. Because when people hear about her, she's 73 and she's gorgeous. She's gorgeous inside and out. But I wanted everybody to see how extraordinary she is, because you can see pictures, but when you see the real thing on a video like that, it's it's really impressive. And she's really my role model, and so I wanted to share the beauty of her with all of you. So let me just tell you just a little bit about her. Her name is Kirk. And she's 73 years young, and she's had really an extraordinary life. She started out, she's really a model career woman in a day when that really wasn't what you did. And she's going to tell a little bit about how that came to be. And so her talents brought her to numerous places, including being a stand-in for the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And it's funny, when you see her, you'll be like, oh, I totally see how she got to do that. And she also then parlayed her talents in style and clothing into being the stylist for the Rhoda Show. And so she did all the styling for Valerie Harper. She then went on to become a brilliant businesswoman, and she opened up her own national jewelry manufacturing business. And actually, if we're lucky today, she can show us a little bit about the jewelry that she makes, because she makes these beautiful necklaces now, which are on her website, and they have these really wonderful and uplifting sayings on them. So we'll get a chance to talk about that in a couple of minutes. So Mimi has also sat on the board of several nonprofit organizations, and because she's more than just a raw foodist, she's also a conscious global, what would you say? She's really a conscious conservationalist. She really thinks globally in terms of our environment and caring for Mother Earth. And so because of that, her love and care of Mother Earth and the environment led her to publish her own environmental newspaper called The City Planet here in Los Angeles. Then in August 2009, and this is so fabulous, you guys will love this, she won the title of the sexiest vegetarian over 50. Now, she's 73, which means that the other people who entered the contest were young enough to be her children. They were in their 50s. And so she won over all of them, which I think is really extraordinary. And I believe that, I usually don't use the word oldest, but she was the person who's been here longest on the planet of all the people who entered this contest. And she won out of everyone. And when you meet her in a couple minutes, you'll know why. Her passion is about helping others look and feel their best by eating plant-based, living vegan diet. So welcome, Mimi.
Hi.
It's so nice to have you here.
I'm exhausted hearing about all the things I've done. I just wore myself out.
You are really an adventurous at heart, aren't you?
I am,
Yeah,
and it's not over yet.
No. You know what? This is what I tell people. I said, at 52, I'm just getting started, and I'm going to do so much more. And I can see at 73, you're going to be doing so much more, because you have so much to contribute.
It's the new 40.
Oh, you know what I tell people? I say 50 isn't the new 30. Excuse me, I got choked up on that. 50 isn't the new 30. It's not even new 20. It's ageless and timeless and limitless.
Yes.
And that's really what you're modeling for us. Is ageless, timeless, and limitless. Hang on, let me drink a drink. I got choked up on that one. I'm so excited to have you here. So let's talk you're so welcome. Thank you for taking the time to come back so people can really see you. I mean, you're gorgeous, and you're gorgeous in the most important way. You're gorgeous and radiant from the inside out. And you can see, everybody you can see. She's long blonde hair and beautiful skin and radiant and gorgeous smile, and it comes from the inside out, and that's really really beautiful. So let's talk, first of all, let's talk about this fabulous contest, and because that really launched a lot of things for you. So let's just talk, how did you find out about this contest, and can you just share a little bit about that journey?
I can't. It really changed my life in so many ways, but I was on my Facebook page, and on the right-hand side in the column it said PETA was having a contest for the sexiest vegetarian over 50. I don't know, it was just a lark, and I just entered the contest. I didn't even tell my boyfriend or my family. It just like I just entered it because I'm a vegan, I'm over 50. I just thought, oh, well, I'll just put my name in. And they had you fill out a form, which I did, and I had to tell them my age and so forth. And then about a week later, I get an email back saying, can you send us proof of age? Because I had to send a photo. So then I had to prove I was old enough to even enter the contest, which was very happy to hear that. I had to send my passport and a, photo ID.
Essentially, you got carded.
I got carded, yes, exactly. For over 50, I got carded, that which was really fun. And then that was it. And about 2 weeks later, I get a call, and it's on speakerphone. And I thought maybe I'm being considered for one of the 10 finalists, because that's what was the next step. And I guess there were several people there, and they were asking me how I feel talking to the media and a bunch of questions about my life. And the next thing I know, I was chosen as one of the 10. And then the contest started. Now, today, many people think I won because I have such big Facebook, so many friends on my Facebook pages. But at the time, I only had 100, my family and friends. That was it. So the votes didn't really come from there. They came from a lot of the members. They have over 2 million members of PETA. And I think a lot of that is where it came from. Not particularly from my family and friends. They all voted once, but that was it. And I'm sure all 100 didn't vote. But then the next thing I know, they said they're going to announce the winner in about a month. And I happened to get up early that day, and I was on my Facebook, and I saw, before they even told me, I happened to see that I had won. There was my face on the PETA page that I had won. I was completely shocked. And it still surprises me today that I won. There were such beautiful people and, all wonderful. They've had contests since then. But an interesting thing, it seems like that me winning the contest at my age was the most popular contestant they said they've ever had, because most of the other women who won were much younger. Right. So maybe I'm the oldest one who ever entered. I'm not sure, but I'm definitely the oldest one who ever won. And so that popularity, it's my title forever, in other words. I have it forever. I was voted the sexiest vegetarian over 50. Then my Facebook page started to just blow out. I had some press. The TV stations came to my door. People were calling me to come downtown to talk on NBC and onto Fox, and just the press happened naturally. And then that started to expand my kind of fan base, as I would call it. And I just think it's so much fun for anyone to see somebody older who still has a youthful spirit and doesn't have to cut their hair off and perm it up.
Give me 5 on that one, baby.
Yeah. Okay, high five on that one. And I really feel very happy that I've been chosen to make a difference in people's lives, because, again, as you mentioned, it really is not so much how you look, although we all have a little vanity and we want to look good. That's why I color my hair to begin with. I don't feel like a great person. I feel very young, so I dress and look like I feel inside. Actually, I probably would dress a lot younger, because I do feel a lot younger. But I think it's more about what's happening inside, because your diet is medicine. Your food is medicine. It's the diet I'm on that I think keeps me as healthy as I am. And my mental attitude is very good, and I'm very passionate about life. And I think those things all make you feel much younger. And I like to laugh a lot. So
that's so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't watch hard edge movies. I watch things that make me laugh, make me feel good. And I'm aware of everything that goes on in the world, but I really choose to look at things in a positive light, even what is going on in the world today. I see the movement very, very strong of people being more concerned about the environment, more about their own health. So I do see the glass half full and not half empty. So
that's beautiful. Oh, you touched on a lot of really wonderful things. So first of all, I want to say, on behalf of all of us who are moving in your direction, thank you Thank you for the joy that you bring. Thank you for the beauty that you bring and that you are. Thank you for your yes that gives us permission to have our yes, because really, it makes me cry. It really is. You're a beautiful role model, and we're looking for. I think that's what people when they were voting for you. I mean, that's how I saw you, and it was like, wow, there's a beautiful person inside out who's modeling where we all want to go and modeling what's possible. So thank you for that.
Well, it comes from self-love, and I think at some point in life we all stop. I think most women will stop feeling insecure about themselves and start accepting where they're at. Right. And once you do that, your growth just changes so dramatically, and how you view everything changes dramatically. So I always say to people, that's one of the most important things, is you have to just love yourself the way you are. You're aging, so what? That's the way it's supposed to be. You got to love what you've got and do the most with it, and do the most in life, and be a kind, compassionate person.
And there's a lot. I mean, you touched on a couple things there. One, there's a lot to do. I mean, with technology coming out, there's a lot offered to women now that we didn't. That's natural. I'm not talking about the stuff that, freezes you. I'm talking about the stuff that's natural. There's technologies coming out. I spent the day a couple of days ago with the inventor of this wonderful machine using radio frequency and clears the lymph system and does all sorts of wonderful things. So there's a lot in technology being offered right now, which I'm very grateful for, because it starts with your health. It starts with the inside. And the other thing you touched on that I would love to talk about is health. You were saying how starting to embrace the living foods lifestyle changed your health radically. Can you talk just a little bit about that and cite actual examples of how your health was before you went living foods and how it's shifted since you've been living foods?
Well, first of all, I've been a vegetarian or vegan for the better part of 40 years. And when I say better part, it means I was most of the time. Occasionally I'd go off. But I would say my diet was always, I considered very healthy. But those of us who eat raw know that vegan and vegetarian food are definitely a different kind of animal, because you can still eat junk food and not eat all live foods. You can't eat processed food. So it does make a difference. So I've been raw for about 4 years, and it all started when I got these little arthritic pains in my fingers, my joints, and I went to the doctor, and he told me my blood pressure and cholesterol were both up. Wow. And I was very surprised because, like I say, I thought I'd been a very healthy person. And so he gave me a prescription, and I went home and got online and started searching something else, because I really didn't want to take any drugs.
Thank you.
So I knew about raw food, and I'd had it once before and really didn't like it that much. Oh, and I'm a foodie. Some people don't care to eat that much. They're happy to juice all the time and not even eat. They can eat once in a while and juice most of the time. It's easy for them, but not me. I'm a foodie. I like beautiful plate full of food, and I love everything to taste good, and I like to be able to eat with other people and enjoy the social part about eating, which I think is very romantic and sexy. Food to me is very sexy and romantic, and I didn't want to give that up. So I checked into raw food, and it didn't appeal to me much, but then I saw a few things that I really liked. So I decided to give it a try, and I went on a detox, which is just drinking juice and having salads, no oils or fats. And I did that with the Raw Divas. It was someone online called the Raw Divas. And I went on that site. It was a free thing, and my daughter decided to do it with me. I started to feel completely different after a week. I really loved it. The second week, I decided I was going to just eat raw food. I never went back after that. That was it. I loved it. I loved the food. I loved the way I felt from the food. And really, as you age, then you know it's more important. You can get by with a lot of stuff earlier in life. You might be doing inner damage, but it doesn't show up. But still, you get by with it because you don't see anything going on. Once you get older and you start to see some things, then you start to pay more attention to it. When I went back to my doctor, my cholesterol had dropped 26 points. I had no arthritic pain at all, and I'm managing my blood pressure. And I just feel that's what brought me to the ultimate health I have today, is eating raw foods. I don't know if it's for everybody or if everyone can do it, but if you can and you start moving in that direction by having a green drink in the morning and maybe a big salad at lunch, it starts to become easier. And that is exactly why I ended up writing a book, because my Facebook friends were saying, I was giving them recipes, and they'd say, "Why don't you put that in a book?" I never thought about writing a book about this, never, until people started asking me to. And then I thought, well, maybe I should do that and put it all together. And I did, and I was lucky enough to find an agent and then a publisher. So it was very exciting. It still is exciting. The book has been doing extremely well. People love my recipes. You know how it is sometimes. You cook from a recipe book, you fix something, and it's not quite your taste. And you have to have a little talent to know, oh, a little more garlic, a little more salt, a little less this. You have to use your own ideas on how to fix food. So I think my book allows people to do that, to add their own more or less. But also, if you decide to fix it just the way the recipe is, it's delicious. And I've been getting amazing feedback, which just puts a smile on my face every day. They tell me their kids love it. You know, the fact that you could be part of changing someone's life for the better, and that they become healthier, their family becomes healthier, their friends become healthier because of just one thing you've done. It's just an amazing thing. And truly, without the internet spreading this message, it could never have happened like this. So I'm still in awe and very excited. And every day I'm coming up with new recipes. Last night I made a new drink. I just couldn't believe it was so satisfying. And you know, I'm in the kitchen all the time. I serve my food to company. They all love it. So I think raw food is a great replacement. You know, I make a raw lasagna. It's so much healthier than a regular lasagna. Why wouldn't anybody take the time to learn to make that? Those are the things I'm talking about that you can replace. If you need to go off once in a while and you want to eat something else, that's fine. But for me, it's so much easier just staying on raw and not going off. I might have a cooked sweet potato or a cooked artichoke every once in a while, but that's about it for me. So I consider myself really 100% raw. Or all raw. I don't know what percent there is, if there is a percent. Because I'll use a nutritional yeast, which is not raw or something like that. But otherwise, I really feel all my food is raw and healthy and alive and organic.
Right. That's very important. Let's talk for a second about the importance of organic. Since you mentioned that, let's define that for people.
Well, I think it's very important. Some people say, oh, well, you really can't tell. But I know that if you've got food, that you're eating food from soil that is contaminated with pesticides of any kind, which they do spray on foods, and the soil isn't clean, you're getting it in your food. And I've read many articles by experts who say that the nutrients from the food you're getting when it's organic as opposed to inorganic food, there's a huge difference. So even though there's a list of foods that they say you should only buy organic, it is really best to buy everything organic when possible, because you're getting a more nutrient content. And who needs chemicals? We get enough in the air every day.
You know what, Mimi? My vision is that there is no need for something to say organic because there's no other option. Like really, for me, it's unconscionable that they can actually sell something as another option to beautiful, healthy, living, nutrient dense and rich fruits and vegetables. That it should all just be organic, and the others should be unacceptable. And that's my vision. My vision is that it's not an and or an or, because like, do you want this poison, or would you like to pay a lot more for the organic? It's just, here's your healthy organic food, because in the United States or anywhere in the world, this is what you deserve, because you're a human being living on this planet.
Yeah, it's very hard for people because they look at the cost of it, and it does cost more. It's not as accessible. Some of the markets now, the mainstream markets, are carrying a very small section of a few things. That's why everybody in almost any town, there's a farmer's market. There's sprouting that you can do in your own kitchen if it's the time of the year that you can't find everything you need. You can freeze fruits. Supposedly the enzyme does not change when you freeze. Only when you heat food does the enzyme change. So you can freeze certain things during, prolific time of the year. And everybody should have a little garden, whether it's herbs or sprouts or something. There's something that connects you to life when you see little things growing. And there's nothing like it. And then you realize this is alive. That gets you aware of what alive food is. I like the farmer's market, and I like locally, because then food is picked more that morning rather than traveling and picked too ripe, and then it still is a problem. Even organic food, when it's picked and shipped, it's picked very, when it's still not ripe. And I think
there's a huge difference.
It is a huge difference. I think once food, I've always thought when you pick fruit, and it's not attached to its living source anymore, its roots or any vegetables or anything, it doesn't ripen. It's starting to rot.
Right.
So you're not getting as live food.
Distinction.
Yeah, so I think shopping farmers markets as much as possible. It does take a changeover. Look, we all know you're raised a certain way. You learn to cook. You have shelves full of cookbooks that are regular cookbooks, standard cookbooks, and you've been a healthy person. You make beans and rice, and you've always been eating microbiotic, whatever it is. I think that's all very good, and I think everybody should add raw foods to their diet. And I think that's important. I know people go by blood type and body type and weather and everything else, but the majority of people I know all over the world who eat raw foods really see a vast difference from anything else. So I'm on it. I like it. And
you're living proof it works.
Yeah, my 100th birthday we'll all celebrate, and I'll have a big raw feast.
I'll be there. Count me in. Send me the invitation.
Okay.
Well, I know we talked about this a little bit. It's such a powerful distinction. That line, even between vegetarian, vegan, and living foods, it's a very strong line. And what I've noticed for myself since I've been living foods, and I feel like I've been looking for this my whole life, and finding living foods, the energy that it gives me and the way it makes my skin look and feel, the vitality I feel. Because what would happen when I would eat cooked foods, it would weigh me down. I would feel like a heaviness. And now it gives such energy. And then I call it this uphill spiral, because now you eat something that nourishes you. Now you're energized. Now you want to go out and exercise. So it's this whole beautiful uphill spiral of health, as opposed to eating cooked foods that are dead. Now you want to go sit on the couch and let the TV watch you. Now you want, it's like this downhill spiral.
And also it's very hard to digest cooked foods.
Right.
I know even when I eat anything, like the sweet potato, whatever, it definitely does something to digestion. It does not digest as quickly. Raw food just goes through your body and does what it should, and it's out of your system. It digests very, very quickly.
It moves fast.
It moves very fast, and cooked food does not. It does take longer. Your body is working, and what you'd like to do is give your body a rest. That is the idea of detoxing, actually. If you juice, your body doesn't have to do any work.
Right.
With a smoothie, you're chewing a little bit, so you still have some more fiber in there that you're working with, which is fine. But juicing is for someone who's sick, juicing is the best thing. Absolutely. And we have to get the toxins out of our body, and that's why juicing is so good, because if you juice even for a few days straight, it just moves stuff through your body so very quickly. Mm-hmm. And we have to get rid of the toxins. Like I say, it's in everything. Right. It's in all the food you eat. It's very difficult to eat out and find organic food. So you've got to make, you have to make choices. Right. Sometimes you have to eat out and just let it go. Try to do the best you can.
You bless it before you eat it,
Yes, and I think that, if you want to travel and you're spending time with other people, I know a lot of people say they're worried all the time. Their friends don't eat that way. What do they do when they go out? Well, I eat a salad. Right. It's vegan. It's not organic, but it's raw. I do my best. So I try to eat organic whenever possible, which is most of the time, because most of my meals are fixed at home. But when I'm traveling and I go out, I don't make a big deal of it. Life is to be enjoyed. And you have to find your place in your diet, whatever that is for you. Maybe you eat raw twice a day and you have a cooked meal at night. Whatever is good for you, I think that's where you have to start. And eventually you'll want to do more.
Right.
That's what I think starts to happen. It's like, okay, I'm doing good now, but what next is there? How can I feel better? And it's kind of an addiction in a way that feels so good.
That's it. The body starts longing for it. That's what happened to me. If you had told me I'd be drinking dandelion juice for breakfast, I'd have told you I am the biggest sweet tooth in the whole world. When I was a little kid, I thought heaven was rows and rows of cakes and cookies. I had such a sweet tooth. And I drink dandelion juice in the morning, and my body craves it. I wake up, and that's what I want. And I was shocked at that. If someone had told me that, I would have never, ever believed them. But it feels so good that my body starts to long for it.
Greens are very addicting, and any kind of wild food you get, wild greens, wild dandelions, or anything that you pick yourself, add that to your juice. Your eyes just open up after you drink it. You feel so alive, and it is addicting. You want more greens. So that's why I tell people, fix that green drink in the morning, have a big chopped salad for lunch, and then dinner, if you can go eat raw food and fix yourself something a little special. By the way, I don't think there's any foods just about that I can't duplicate and make a raw flavor out of it.
Right. So let's
anything I like.
let's talk about this wonderful. Well, first I want to give everybody your website because it's a fabulous website name. It's www.youngonrawfood.com. Easy to remember. Youngonrawfood.com, and it's Mimi Kirk, Kirk. Now she's filled to capacity on her Facebook page, but we can like you. Is that correct? We can
Yes,
go on to
yeah,
Facebook.
there is a
like
page,
you.
for that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, so please go on her Facebook page and like her because you do. In fact, I remember before Thanksgiving, I went onto your site because it was right before we were going to do our interview, so I was doing a lot of research on you, and you gave this fabulous, instead of turkey, this fabulous recipe using mushrooms to simulate a turkey recipe, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so clever. So let's talk for a minute. The book is Live Raw. Is that correct? Is your book Live Raw?
Yeah.
And let's just talk a little bit about some of your recipes. If just maybe share a little bit about just something fun from the book.
Well, first of all, I love to travel, so I have a lot of international dishes in there and it's plus also being from California. We have every kind of restaurant that you want to eat at, and I love the ethnic food. And as a vegetarian, you can always find Indian or Asian food, anything you want, Mexican food that's vegetarian. And I wondered how I could do that raw. So I have a lot of those different recipes in there, from enchiladas to lasagnas to a pasta that I make. I make stuffed grape leaves. So I'm trying to cover all the tastes that I've always loved. And I have some favorites that are very easy for myself. One is I love making veggie patties from the pulp, from the juicing. And I add a nut seed to it, like pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds, and I make a nut so that stays together. And sometimes I use a little almond pulp in it. Sometimes I put seaweed in it or capers, and I chop fresh onions and red pepper, and I make these patties, and I can make a whole bunch of them at once, and I dehydrate them. Can't do without my little dehydrator. And then I dehydrate them, and I have those all week. I can even freeze them if I'm going away, and I put them between lettuce leaves or Savoy cabbage leaves, and I'll use homemade ketchup or a little mustard or a little homemade mayo or a little hummus, and I put tomato and onions and a little capers on there and make a nice little burger sandwich, a nice little veggie burger sandwich. It's one of my favorite, easy, quick go-to things. And I can always have that in the refrigerator and be satisfied.
Right.
And I love raw onion, so I know some people don't eat that, but I happen to love sweet onion, and I put that on top of it, and I think it's quite delicious. The other thing I like to make is my spaghetti, which is made from a zucchini noodle, and I have a little, you can find this tool on my site. It's called a spiralizer. It's a little white plastic tool, and you put your zucchini in there, and you turn the handle, and it comes out looking like pasta. It's so delicious. I've served it to company. I warm it slightly. I don't eat all cold foods. I warm foods with a great keka, fresh tomatoes and basil from the garden, and beautiful Italian herbs, rosemary we have growing, and lots of things. And I'll put that on top of the pasta. I've served it to company, and they think it's actual pasta with vegetables. They don't realize the pasta is the zucchini noodle.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, and as far as sweets go that you mentioned, I also have a sweet tooth. And I love my desserts. Chocolate, any kind of chocolate. I'll make a little kind of Mounds bars or peanut butter cups. I make all kinds of pies and cakes and great brownies and all that stuff I put in my book. Of course, I come up with different recipes every day, but my book really has the great selection of those recipes that I'm talking about. So.
That sounds amazing. So I know you had mentioned, especially with the pasta, cooking it, because I know that they say you're not supposed to cook it over 118 degrees, but I tell people, I said, that's hot. I mean, if you go into a hot tub and it's over 106 degrees, it's almost too hot to get into. So that's, 118 degrees is really warm. So how do you warm the food? For people listening who, get your cookbook, what do you do so you don't
dehydrator? In the dehydrator, I usually use 105 to 110. Okay. And the dehydrator has a different kind of heat. You can't quite get that in your oven. If people do not have a dehydrator, I recommend in the book you put it in the oven with the door ajar on the lowest number, which is usually 2-something. But you have to keep a really good eye on it. Right. You just want it body temperature. Right. That's how I tell. No one knows what 118 degrees is like, or 115 or 10. I look at it as body temperature. Right. Then I know. Like you would warm a baby bottle, right? And you feel it's just slightly warm, and that's the way. I used to like very hot food. Now I just need it warm, and it's fine for me. I do it in a couple ways. I can dehydrate to warm food, which takes much longer, or now I've become very expert at warming in a pan, and I just watch it. I use a pan to warm a lot of foods in, and I'm, like I say, I'm very careful. I keep it on a low flame, and I test it. I'll stick my finger in there and something, and I test it or take a little taste, and I know when it's body temperature, it's right. So I make a kelp noodle with a cheesy sauce on it, and I always heat that in a pan. And soups, I heat them in a pan, and I make a lot of warm drinks. Like I made a really great one last night, and I heat that in a pan, and I just make it warm. Warm hot cacao. I make a chocolate, like a hot chocolate drink, but it's warm.
And now, what's your favorite sweetener that you like to use? What do you like the best?
Well, it's a combination of things. Agave doesn't have good reputation, but I still do use agave at times. I use some stevia, but I don't like the taste as well.
Okay.
I have palm sugar that I use. I have some coconut sugar that I use. I don't use honey because I'm vegan, but vegans usually don't eat honey, or you're called a vegan. And I'm not opposed to it because I know a lot of beekeepers who say that they're not harming the animals in any way. In fact, they're supporting them. So there is a fine line there of what. But any commercial honey, no, you don't want that because they're not bees. But I do know beekeepers, and from what I've heard, it is okay. You're not harming the animal. But I don't personally have it anymore just because I'm trying to stay as clean as possible in my reputation that I have.
Got it.
So I use a variety of sweeteners, and I love dates. Dates are one of my favorite sweeteners. I put them sometimes in my smoothies, and I try to use dates as much as possible. When I'm making a crust, I always use dates in my pie crust and nuts. And so I try to keep my diet as clean as possible. But agave is for liquid, and then there's coconut aminos, which is a liquid like agave and works very well. I like that one too very much. That's supposedly very good. It's hard to know because there's so much controversy about everything.
There is.
And you just experiment and figure out what's best for yourself. It's all, like I say, agave or sweetener of choice. Everybody can choose what they like best.
And what I'm noticing is as you get the cleaner you get from eating living foods, your body becomes very sensitive, and it'll tell you if something's not right. It'll definitely tell you.
Exactly.
Well, I want to just ask one more quick question before we go. And because you model this so beautifully, you have a sweetheart named Michael. And what I love is that 73, he is, I think, 19 years your junior, which I think is fabulous. I think
it works just perfectly.
It does, because you have so much energy. He can barely keep up with you, probably, especially when you travel. I bet he barely keeps up with you. So what would you say, because I know that, in our society, a lot of people have this thing around age, and as we become, more authentic in who we are, it really becomes irrelevant. So what would you say to someone out there who's listening, who's like, really 19 years younger? Just share with us a little bit about your beautiful relationship, and as an inspiration for others who are looking for authentic love, not necessarily what the number would say.
Well, for me, it wouldn't be that much difference because a younger man is fantastic for me because I have so much energy.
Right.
I don't know men my age particularly, and I don't know any that are, I'm sure there are lots of men my age that are definitely in great shape and take care of themselves and very energetic. But we met and we fell in love, and the age really didn't have anything to do with it. Although he didn't know my age in the beginning, he found out after it was too late and he was already in love with me. But, it's never a discussion in our household. We have a relationship just like anybody else that has a good relationship. We have a fantastic relationship. He is completely my right hand and helps me with everything I do. We're really together almost 24/7 because both of us are basically, he's been retired since he's 40, and I retired, but I have a business right now that I run. It's called Side Saddle. I have a line of vintage cowgirl products, and a board game I invented called Cowgirls Ride the Trail of Truth. So he helps me with that, and he helps me with the book, and he took all the photos in the book. So I think it's quite amazing. He's not a professional photographer, but he's got a great eye for beauty and
of course he does.
Yes, aside from me, he has a great eye for beauty. And he takes beautiful pictures of our cactus garden, the sunsets, and I said, you've got to do the pictures for the book because there's no way I can get everything cooked and fixed and prepared without someone right at my side. And he was there for me every minute. So we have for someone who's people who are together, like I say, almost 24/7, we have an amazing relationship. And so the age doesn't really, it's not a factor at this point.
Right.
So,
well, thank you for modeling the beauty of a really authentic and loving and supportive relationship. I appreciate that. I'm single myself now, so I really cherish every person I meet, every couple that I meet. I really honor it and I celebrate it, because as I see it in you, I know I bring it towards me. So thank you for being that, and thank you for modeling that. You model a lot of beautiful things for us, Mimi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I know we have to let you go, but this has been wonderful. Is there anything you'd like to share before you leave? Anything else? We'll say your website and your book one more time, but is there anything else that you'd like to share with people who are listening? Any words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Well, I tell a lot of stories in my book, so it's a beautiful book, and it's priced really well. You can go to my website and get it, and I have this beautiful little necklace that that has all to remind you to stay healthy. This is really a great thing for a guy or a girl, both, and it tells you to drink your green drink and laugh a lot and be positive and all the things that I think are important. And I think the major thing I'd like to just leave everybody with is find the beauty in yourself and look at the gifts you have and share them with everybody, because that's what life is about. And when you really love yourself, you can give more of yourself and treat yourself like someone you love. And that would be my biggest suggestion. Life changes with that completely. Because if you do feel that way, you do want to give yourself the best food. You do want to eat the best. You want to give the best service out in the world. And you just become a kind, loving person. And I think that is the answer to a happy life, really.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mimi.
you.
Oh, so for everybody, please go visit Mimi's site, youngonrawfood.com. She has her beautiful necklaces there. And I love that the necklaces say, green juice, love yourself, eat raw food, be positive, and laugh a lot.
Yes.
Beautiful words of wisdom.
Thank
you so much. So it's Live Raw. You can get the book on your website as well. Is that correct?
Yes, you can.
Okay. So thank you, Mimi. It was
thank you for having me.
Sharing time with you, and I will see you.
Kisses. See you soon in Arizona.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you. Ciao.